We've not had any real gaming videos on this channel for quite a while. Now that I'm back, there is no reason not to change that. At first I felt of attempting better live commentary videos, but after some research I realized it was not needed anymore. Instead, I'm going to do something new in hopes of figuring out the things best players do in their team ranked matches and help improve my own and hopefully someone else's gameplay. As it is an informational video and analysis of sorts, expect pauses, rewinds and lengthy lunch breaks. This VOD comes from sometime in Season 10 and was kindly supplied by Acreos. Visit his Twitch stream at twitch.tv/Acreos for some amazing solo ranked and team ranked action, as he's a wonderful player and should be followed. We're landed on Mandalorian Battle Ring with two teams of very equal composition, with only difference being their healers. The team we're observing has a higher average rating, around 2k by the end season, while the other guys are pretty good too, at least high gold material. Both teams are running a Combat Carnage Sentinel Marauder and a Marksmanship Sharpshooter Sniper Gunslinger, implying this is a battle of hard swap callout comps. Their tanks are DPS geared, Guardian and Juggernaut for excellent survivability and more AoE pressure. Team 1 has an operative healer for powerful overtime and AoE healing, while Team 2 is running a Sage, which in my opinion has better single target sustain. Mandalorian Battle Ring is my personal #1 arena, as it is simple yet its layout allows for all kinds of plays. Most battles happen on the upper circular arena with 5 blazers that can be used for kiting and losing line of sight. Careless players can be pushed down, which is a tremendous advantage to their opponents. You can get back up by 2 curvy ramps on the opposite sides of the arena or by using jumper pads. Right underneath it has a smaller and tighter ring that is sometimes used by specific cleave and AoE team compositions to fight, as well as to run away in specific scenarios. Additionally, at the edges of the map there are small pockets of space that can be used for hiding, but that is more of a solo ranked thing. Right from the beginning we see difference in tactics, as Team 2 uses Transcendence to quickly approach their opponents and gain ground, perhaps to restrict them to playing around the edge of the upper arena. Team 1 though uses a cautious approach, sending guarded Acreos forwards, while the rest of them staying behind in a spread out fashion to not get controlled. Night Train, Mad Dashes and Lisnadel rolls forwards as soon as Kelev engages on them, most likely to avoid a possible awe control. So seeing both tank and a heal would be a great advantage for any team right here, but seeing that nothing could be done, Kelev just deals some damage to Acreos and follows him. Look at Lisnadel's movement though, quickly launches his first control on the Sage healer. This obviously should not be broken and there is no tech cleanse here, so he has to wait it out. Attention is on Caprica now, who suddenly breaks and uses Camo, despite having guard on. Perhaps it is pressure from his healer being CC'd and he does not want to take a lot of damage, but Stun Breaker is a valuable cooldown. Gunslinger aggressively uses diversion on the sniper, but the follow-up is somewhat slow, allowing the sniper to move outside the debuff and use evasion to negate some damage, although a hard stun eliminates evasion effects entirely. A flashbang comes out of the Slinger defensively, I would say, as he was taking noticeable damage during the hard stun and his tank is still guarding the healer, possibly a mistake as he wasn't taking damage. Night Train is quickly cleansed here, something that the Sage wouldn't be able to do at all. Since Team 2 is well stacked, the sniper quickly uses a very efficient diversion and Night Train pushes Kelev outside the guard range. Slinger tries to move but is instantly hard stunned. Good play from him here, breaking efficiently and using evasion to relocate. Kelev switches guard here before he is controlled again, and attention switches to Caprica for a second, but as guard comes, it returns back to the Slinger. This is what I was talking about before, a great play from K and pushing Acreos off the ring, allowing his team a much needed breather. Could have been a double push, but Night Train hit the railing. Takes 8 seconds for the Marauder to come back up, which totals to at least 5 global cooldowns missed, and that is a lot of damage. Team 1's preferred target is this Gunslinger definitely, as he has no breaker and can't camo out of a tunnel as the Marauder would. Team 2 were on the sniper for a moment, but guard swaps are on points and come pretty much at the same time as the target is engaged. Good damage to the Sentinel as Sage is flashbang somewhere in the back and unable to heal. Diversion from the Slinger again and a follow-up on the sniper. Great flashbang on the tank, but the operative remains uncontrolled and his resolve bar just emptied. Note the job he's doing to avoid line of sight for any possible crowd control, moving around that middle blazer. The Juggernaut breaks at this point to guard Elsa, and he's pretty much safe. Hard stun on the operative comes a bit late. Ballistic shield comes out of the sniper, and Team 2 continues to fight inside this, although they could probably line of sight this behind the big blazer. Right now their damage is not efficient and we see Sniper's diversion coming down. Slinger tries to relocate and he is being hard stunned by Night Train. There is no follow-up. Although we can see the Sniper attempts to walk around and engage the target, but as nothing can be done, he just switches. Damage is on Aquarius and he takes some noticeable HP loss, dashes to try and mitigate some, while both his tank and healer fall into awe of Kelov. Now would be a good time to attempt something on Elsa as the Marauder is guarded and the Jug can't immediately switch his guard. Note how the Operative doesn't have his resolve bar filled, allowing for an additional grenade to be used on him, although it feels like 2 seconds early. Also note how the Operative misses his flashbang on the Sage because of diversion, making him waste at least 2 global cooldowns. Wonderful play for Team 2 overall, a lot of damage to the Sniper, diversion on top of him. It could have been their winning move if only they pushed away or otherwise controlled Night Train as soon as his resolve bar depletes. But with the guard on and healer free casting, Sniper rolls away and is back to high health. Switch to Aquarius, whose standing roses with 50% HP follows. There is no hard stun and he camos out to the fight. Another switch to Elsa, as he has little left to support himself, but a counter attempt is on KN with an offensive diversion. As he attempts to move, he is hard stuns, and as he is guarded, Kelov gets first pushed away by the Sniper's pulse, and as soon as he returns, he gets pushed by the Jug and just outside of the guard range. This secures Team 1 the kill, as they did something Team 2 couldn't do before. Elsa most likely would have been dead with more control on Night Train. Some great plays from both teams in round 1, showcasing the power of proper crowd control use. On the scoreboard, we see considerably bigger damage numbers on Team 2, but clearly Team 1 utilized their abilities more efficiently. What Team 2 needs right now is a timely crowd control follow-up to their hard swap coming from their tank and heal. Round 2 starts similar to the first one, with Team 2 gaining ground through offensive transcendence, while Team 1 Sniper is staying back and Aquarius moves forward to get engaged on the Kelov. Operative rolls in and controls the Sage. Early offensive CC is important to gain an upper hand through possible free damage. A huge thing right here is Elsa dodging enemy diversion entirely, completely ruining any attempt at him. Team 2 still tries to engage and do some damage, but without diversion it is ineffective. Attention switches to Aquarius, but both enemy tank and healer are controlled, allowing Team 1 to make a move for the Slinger with a diversion of their own. However, because of an interesting stack from Team 1, both the tank and the Sniper fall in awe. Hain quickly lifts up the Operative here and Team 2 stage an attempt of their own on the Sniper. This forces Lisnada to break and cleanse the tank, and note the Operative's resolve bar. Again, Team 2 might have gotten a kill if only they had some follow-up control. They still continue engaging the Sniper, but the moment is lost and he's out of danger. Fight shifts to the edge of the ring and you know what it means. Sage gets pushed off, but that is quickly fixed by a well-placed phase walk around the center of Blazer. The damage is on the Slinger, but no guard just yet, most likely due to Team 2 attempting to pull all of their damage into Aquarius following a great Gunslinger pulse, which drives Night Train off the ring. No guard in Team 1 for a base, but have to remember he has all of his cooldowns though. It is much more important to keep your Gunslinger up in health. Aquarius is forced to use quite a lot though, that is Undying Rage and Camo, but let's note what happens next. Kelov has just switched his guards to the Slinger and is moving around to Central Blazer in an attempt to do something unclear, perhaps LOS, any possible incoming control. Caprica has 60% health and is very close to the camouflaged Aquarius, whom he obviously does not see. The Sage has his resolve empty. Somehow he moves towards the tank and in one great play they're both flashbanged. At the same time, the Marauder chokes Caprica, who is unguarded, with a great follow-up and damage. The tank, whom we can see right now, evidently has to break to provide guard, but that was very close to a kill, and Caprica had to use a lot of defensives as well. The damage is shifted to the unguarded Slinger, but Team 2 places a nice awe and engages on Elsa with an offensive diversion. A little bit slow, as the awe on the tank expires by itself with no cleanse or breaker used. No choice here but to switch to Aquarius, and a little bit surprised with Ballistic Shield coming out. There is no immediate danger and hit points are all pretty high. Decent control on both tank and healer of Team 1, but there is no follow-up here. Aquarius knows he is unguarded, has little CDs, and is trying to kite away. Elsa uses his diversion defensively to provide supports here. Remember that since they're playing sharpshooter and marksmanship specs, a diversion remains on players affected for 3 seconds even as they leave the area. The Marauder is still engaged on, but with the CC ending and diversion in effect, the target is dropped. With a little bit of downtime while Kane is trying to avoid possible focus, we can see Caprica using his awe to CC both tank and sniper, but that is wasted entirely as both are immediately broken. An important cooldown that could have been used for more important things in a better fashion. He also actively camos to avoid possible switch, although it doesn't really look like he was was in any danger here, as none of his teammates were disabled and his HP weren't low. Akri is taking some hits, procs the shield out of the sniper, and looking closely, the Sage has been controlled by the operative, allowing Team 1 to push the damage. Note the split target here, as Akri is attacking the gunslinger while Elsa is on the sentinel. Surprisingly, his sentinel takes quite a lot of damage despite having his saber ward up. The Sage is controlled once again, so this seems like a dangerous situation to Team 2. Both Team 2's damage dealers drop quite low, but as the healer is out of control, they seem to be out of danger as well. Offensive diversion on Elsa followed by a hard stun, but the operative is free casting from the back with an absolutely empty resolve bar. Elsa barely takes any damage with shield probe and guard being up here, and quite a lot was invested in this lackluster attack. The operative does get a seed, but that happens after the attack is failed. That diversion and the sniper attempt should definitely have been delayed. This happens as a counter diversion covers 3 members of Team 2 with damage being rotated into the unguarded slinger. Guard comes timely though, as the Guardian is not any kind of control. Good attempt from the sniper to push Caliph away, but not before the Guardian leaps. Know that the slinger breaks his white bar to follow the tank. Also note that the operative is still being controlled, but at this point it's more of a waste as there's barely any counter damage due to diversion. Prompt switch to Caprica makes him use Breaker, Awe and Camo, and that leaves both Team 2 damage dealers without any major cooldowns. Their 8 points also remain relatively low. In fact, kill potential for Team 1 is very high at the moment. Pay attention to the Sage here. He's being controlled exactly when his team needs heals the most. Remember, he was stopping the operative just moments ago, but that wasn't exactly what you'd call a success, as Team 1 barely needed any healing at the moment. The Sage has to bubble his white bar as his damage dealers' hit points are very low and Caprica is nearing death. Waiting out 6 more seconds would have been a sure loss of his teammate. Note how Caliph is being pushed away from Caprica, and he's not really outside the guard range, but the sentinel takes a couple of steps back and oops, he's no longer protected. That puts him in a tricky situation as he's almost dead and Caliph is pushed back once more, but a bubble from the Sage, Guardian Leap and defensive diversion come in just in time. Follow the Sage, you can see him idling for almost 5 seconds, not providing any heals to his Marauder. That's pretty long and necessary downtime, and mistakes like that is what amounts to a load of pressure in the end. What follows is a wonderful 3-man roar, leaving Gunslinger to be the next target. Note Caliph here though, as he switches guard split seconds before he's controlled. Without it, the Slinger would already be dead. Unfortunately though, the Slinger is very low and can probably be taken down through the guard, which is what Team 1 is trying to do here. Offensive diversion to push him out of cover and an amazing push right outside guard range or healer's line of sight. Team 2 reacts quite quickly, I must say. Props to them. Caliph does a great job at keeping both damage dealers alive despite unlikely odds. Unfortunately, the mounted pressure may be just too high at this point as both Team 2 damage dealers have no choice but to fall back. A pretty nice roll into push from the Slinger on Lusnada there, who was standing on the edge, but at this point controlling the healer is not what Team 2 needs. They would much rather for it to have been one of the Team 1 DDs. They need a room to get their health brought back up. Split damage from Team 1, which is actually a viable approach at this point, as both damage dealers there attacking are quite low and without any meaningful cooldowns here. The Sage is also being controlled, so once again no way to alleviate that mounting pressure. Defensive diversion helps quite a bit though, as it makes the sniper disengage from the sentinel. Meanwhile, the healer broke his white bar and is back to healing, although you can see another considerable downtime here. The Slinger moves and breaks his entrenched but doesn't step away from the ledge and pays for it by being pushed off. He might be the next target as he's coming back with his resolve bar empty, but guard comes in very timely. Looks like this game is to be resolved with acids, but Team 1 has a clear upper hand in here as they're almost unharmed. A moment of respite for Team 2 following a great push on the Juggernaut and some CC on the operative. This ballistic shield is puzzling though, as it is a much needed tool for the acid fight, which is happening in just a few seconds. Note this diversion from Elsa, great counter to the shield, making it practically useless to stay inside. Still, this break allowed Team 2 to restore most of the much needed health and regroup to stand some chance during sudden death, but they have expended quite a few needed skills in here. Just a few seconds before Acid, Team 2 launches a surprising offensive on the sniper, placing a good awe on his tank and using diversion. Unfortunately, there is once again no follow-up CC on the operative who gets the tank cleansed. Even if there was though, the sniper still has all his cooldowns available, so there was no way this attack could amount to anything. Would have been much better to save both diversion and the shields until Acid hits and healing was severely reduced. And a great example of an acid fight by Team 1 using their shield and diversion at the right moments, showcasing the power of those tools. There is no telling who would have won this fight though, if Team 2 still had their shields and diversion available, as they definitely had higher overall damage on their team, at least judging by the first round scoreboard, and they also got their health bars in order by the end of the round. On the scoreboard, we still see higher damage output for Team 2, but somewhat less healing. If the Sage eliminated several of his downtimes, perhaps the pressure would not have built up so much. At the same time, Team 1 used their control quite efficiently, disabling much needed support at the right time. And this is it here. I hope you enjoyed this analysis of a team ranked match from Season 10. If you need anything, you can always find me on my stream at twitch.tv/dailypvp. Take care until next time.